he knocks down an innocent young woman on her way home to her husband. And instead of stopping and doing the right thing, Prince Desmond picked up her lifeless body, drove to the nearest river and threw her in. He wanted no witnesses, no traces, no consequences, because in his mind, the throne was worth more than one woman's life. What Prince Desmond did not know was that this same woman would return, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Each time he married, each time he celebrated his wedding night, she would appear, and every one of those 3 wives would close their eyes forever on the exact same night that Laura Mensah breathed her last breath by that riverside. Stay with me as I tell you how greed can swallow a man whole, strip him of everything he loves, and turn a prince into a broken man haunted by the truth he tried to bury. But before we begin, please like and subscribe to this channel, and also leave a comment telling us where you are watching from. Now sit down well and listen. The kingdom of Green Valley was peaceful, ruled wisely by King Robert and Queen Grace. They had 2 sons, Prince Michael, the strong eldest who would inherit the throne, and Prince Desmond, the carefree younger brother who loved fast cars and modern gadgets. Everything changed when Prince Michael fell mysteriously ill. He grew weaker each day, unable to leave his bed. The physicians tried everything, but nothing worked. The kingdom needed an heir, so the king turned to his younger son. Desmond, King Robert said gravely, "We must prepare you to become crown prince." Desmond's heart raced with excitement. The throne would be his. He had never wanted the responsibility before, but now that it was within reach, he desired it intensely. Nothing would take this away from him. On a rainy Tuesday evening, Desmond visited his friend in neighboring Hillcrest. He stayed late, and by the time he left, storm clouds filled the sky. Rain poured down as he drove home, his windshield wipers barely keeping up. His phone buzzed. A message from Elder Thomas. "Your crowning ceremony is scheduled for next month. We must meet tomorrow to discuss preparations." Desmond smiled, reading the message while driving. Crown Prince. Soon everyone would bow to him. He was so distracted by thoughts of power and glory that he didn't see the figure on the road ahead. Her name was Laura Mensah, 23 years old, newly married just 2 weeks ago. She lived in Oakwood Village with her husband, Kwame, a hard-working farmer. They were very poor. Laura and Kwame had married in a small ceremony with only family present. They couldn't afford a big celebration, but they were happy together. Tonight was supposed to be special. After 2 weeks of working every day since their wedding, they had finally saved enough to take one night off. Kwame had promised that when Laura returned from selling her oranges, they would have their proper honeymoon celebration at home. Just the 2 of them, sharing a simple meal by candlelight. That rainy evening, Laura had traveled to Riverside Village to sell her oranges. She had done well. Now she was walking home to Oakwood, thinking about Kwame waiting for her. Just 2 miles and she'd be home in his arms. She never saw the car coming. Prince Desmond heard a terrible sound, a thud that made his heart stop. The car jerked and Desmond's phone flew from his hand. For a moment, he sat frozen. Then the horrible truth dawned on him. He had hit someone. Desmond jumped out into the rain. There, lying on the wet road, was Laura Mensah. She wasn't moving. Her eyes were closed. The oranges she'd been carrying were scattered across the road. "No, no, no," Desmond gasped, falling to his knees. "What have I done?" He checked for signs of life, his hands shaking. Nothing. She was gone. For a moment, he thought about what he should do. Take her to the hospital, call for help. These were the right things to do. But then another thought crept into his mind. The crown, the throne. If he reported this, everyone would know he had caused this tragedy while driving carelessly. A poor, innocent young woman, a newlywed on her way home to her husband. The scandal would be enormous. The elders would never allow someone who had caused such tragedy to become king. The throne would be taken away. No, Desmond whispered, I can't let that happen. The road was completely empty. The rain had driven everyone inside. No witnesses. Desmond lifted Laura in his arms and placed her in his car. Then he gathered the oranges and her tray. He drove through the rain, not towards the hospital, but towards the great riverside. When he reached the riverbank, he looked around. Still no one. I'm sorry, he whispered, but I need that throne. He let Laura's body sink into the river. The water swallowed her immediately. He threw the tray and oranges in after her. Then Desmond returned to his car and went home to the palace as if nothing had happened. That night, he lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. He tried to tell himself it was just a bad dream. The throne was more important. He didn't know that the river remembered. In Oakwood village, Kwame Mensah sat by the window, waiting for his wife. He had prepared everything for their honeymoon celebration. He had picked wildflowers. He had cooked a simple meal. He had lit their only candle. Hour after hour passed, but Laura never came home. Kwame called her name into the darkness. No answer. And so Kwame sat in his chair to wait. He would sit there for many years, never knowing what had happened to his beloved Laura. But the river knew, and one day the truth would rise from those dark waters. 5 years passed. Prince Michael never recovered from his illness. Prince Desmond was officially crowned as Crown Prince of Green Valley. The ceremony was magnificent. The people cheered, and Desmond smiled, his terrible secret buried deep. Desmond had almost convinced himself it was just a nightmare. 5 years had passed with no discovery. The river had kept its secret. But there were nights when he couldn't sleep. Nights when he would wake in a cold sweat, remembering Laura's face. When Desmond turned 28, the elders came with an important message. Crown Prince Desmond, you must take a wife. The royal line must continue. The search for a bride began. Young women from noble families came to the palace. Desmond met Catherine, a gentle, kind young woman from the southern province. He chose her as his bride. The wedding was magnificent. Catherine became Princess Catherine, and she moved into the palace. Catherine was a good wife. She was kind, respectful, and genuinely seemed to care for Desmond. Finally came the sacred wedding night, the honeymoon night when husband and wife would be alone together for the first time. It was exactly 5 years to the day since Laura Mensah had breathed her last breath by the riverside. In the middle of the night, Desmond was awakened by screaming. Catherine was sitting up in bed, pointing at the wall, her face filled with terror. Look, there's a shadow there, a woman standing there. Desmond looked at the wall. He saw nothing. Catherine, there's no one there. She's there, dressed in simple village clothes. She's looking at me, pointing at me. Her face is so sorrowful. Why is she here on our wedding night? Desmond felt a chill. No, it couldn't be. She's looking right at me, Catherine sobbed. Make her go away. Then Catherine suddenly grabbed her throat, struggling to breathe. Catherine! Desmond rushed to her. What's happening? Catherine became distressed, as if something invisible was affecting her. She fought desperately for air. Guards! Physicians! Desmond screamed. But before anyone reached the room, Catherine suddenly went still. Her hands dropped. Her head fell back.
Princess Catherine was gone on her wedding night. The physicians found no explanation. It's as if she simply stopped living. The kingdom mourned. Desmond mourned most of all, gripped by terrible fear. The shadow on the wall, the invisible force, on the wedding night. It was Laura, returned from the river to seek justice. But he couldn't tell anyone without revealing his crime.
After months of mourning, the elders insisted he marry again. His second wife was Margaret, a strong woman from the northern province. Margaret and Desmond married in a quieter ceremony. Then came their wedding night. It happened again. Margaret walked screaming, pointing at the wall. "There's a shadow, a woman. She's looking at me." "Margaret, there's no one there. She's pointing at me. Why is she here?" Then Margaret suddenly struggled to breathe, overwhelmed by an unseen force. Moments later, she collapsed. Princess Margaret was gone on her wedding night, exactly as Laura Mensah had been taken. The kingdom was in shock. 2 wives, both passing mysteriously on their wedding night. People began to whisper. Something was very wrong. The elders insisted Desmond marry again despite his protests. His third wife was Elizabeth, religious and prayerful. On her wedding night, she saw the shadow. She became distressed, fighting against something no one could see. Then she went still. Princess Elizabeth was gone. After the third wife, the kingdom was in an uproar. "He is cursed," the people cried. "Every woman who marries him is taken on her wedding night." The king and queen were devastated. 3 wives lost in the same mysterious way. "We must find help," Queen Grace wept. They sent messengers everywhere seeking help. Priests came, they were struck down, losing their minds. Healers arrived, they lost their sight. An oracle whispered, "I see the shadow of a woman from the water." Then her voice vanished. No one could help. The elders held an emergency council. "Perhaps Prince Desmond is not meant to be king. Perhaps we must return the crown to Prince Michael." Desmond heard the news. After everything, they would take the throne anyway. In desperation, he sent messengers offering gold to anyone who could break the curse. Finally, from a distant kingdom, Prophet Elijah agreed to come help. Before the prophet's arrival, Desmond married a 4th wife, Maria, a simple farm girl who volunteered despite knowing what happened. "Perhaps I will break the curse," Maria said bravely. The stage was set for truth to finally emerge. Prophet Elijah arrived, an older man with kind eyes and gentle manner. He wore simple robes and carried only a walking staff and prayer book. Prince Desmond looked terrible, thin, pale, aged beyond his 38 years. "I am desperate for your help. 3 wives I have lost, all on their wedding night. Anyone who tries to help is struck down." Prophet Elijah studied him. "I have fasted 40 days preparing. I have seen the truth of why this is happening." Desmond's heart pounded. "What do you mean?" "All will be revealed, but first, have you married a 4th wife?" "Yes, Maria, 3 days ago." "Has the wedding night passed?" "No, I've been too afraid. I keep delaying." The prophet nodded. "Then there is still time, but the truth must come to light. Are you prepared?" Desmond hesitated, then nodded. Prophet Elijah spent days in prayer and fasting, alone with his prayer book and a candle. 2 weeks passed. Maria waited patiently. Then Prophet Elijah emerged. "It is time. Gather everyone in the palace courtyard." By afternoon, thousands had gathered. The king and queen sat on thrones. Prince Michael was carried out on a bed. Desmond stood trembling. Maria stood beside him. Prophet Elijah addressed the crowd. "People of Green Valley, I have been called to break the curse. 3 wives have been lost, all on their wedding night. You wonder why. The crowd listened intently. I will tell you the truth. This is not a random curse. This is justice. This is the spirit of a young woman seeking what was taken from her. He raised his hand. Suddenly, everyone could see her. A translucent, glowing spirit appeared in the courtyard. 23 years old, wearing simple clothes, holding an orange seller's tray. She glowed with soft blue-white light. The crowd gasped. Behold Laura Mensah, whose life was stolen 10 years ago. No, Desmond cried. Please don't. But Prophet Elijah's eyes became stern. Tell them, Prince Desmond. Tell them what you did that rainy evening. Tell them the truth. Desmond found himself unable to lie anymore. I was driving home. It was raining. I was looking at my phone, not paying attention. Tears streamed down his face. I struck her. I struck Laura Mensah with my car. She was walking home from selling oranges. The crowd erupted in shock. I should have helped her, but I was afraid. I'd just been named Crown Prince. I didn't want to lose the throne, so Prophet Elijah finished. So you took her body to the riverside and let the river swallow her. You threw away her life and let her family wander forever. You took from her what she can never have back, her honeymoon night with her husband. The crowd shouted in anger. Some wept. Laura Mensah's husband, Kwame, still lives in Oakwood. For 10 years, he has waited for his wife, wondering what happened on what should have been their honeymoon night. Prophet Elijah turned to Desmond. Each time your wives prepared for their wedding night, Laura's spirit appeared. She showed you what you stole from her. A life, a future, a honeymoon night. And she took from you what you took from her, that sacred night of joy. Desmond fell to his knees, weeping. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was selfish and cowardly. I wanted the throne more than doing right. I deserve this. Prophet Elijah walked to Laura's spirit and knelt before her. Laura Mensah, I understand your pain. What was done to you was terrible evil. You and Kwame deserved better. Laura's spirit looked at him sorrowfully. But I ask you to consider mercy. Prince Desmond has confessed before all witnesses. He will face justice. He will lose the throne. But Princess Maria is innocent. She has not yet had her wedding night. She has done nothing wrong. He gestured toward Maria, tears streaming down her face. I beg you to spare this woman. Let her live. Let her have her wedding night. Let there be an end to the loss of innocent lives. Your justice has been served. The truth is known. Please let this be enough. For a long moment, Laura's spirit was silent. She looked at Desmond with such pain. But then her gaze shifted to Maria, the innocent young woman who had shown such bravery. Slowly, Laura's expression softened. The blue-white glow became warmer. She gave the smallest nod. Thank you, the prophet whispered. He turned to the crowd. Laura's spirit agrees to peace on these conditions. First, Prince Desmond must confess to Kwame. Second, Laura's body must be properly buried with all honors. Third, Prince Desmond must give up the throne. The king rose. It will be done. My son has committed a terrible wrong,
he will face the consequences. Prophet Elijah turned to Laura's spirit. Is this acceptable? Laura nodded. Then, slowly, her spirit began to fade, becoming transparent until she disappeared completely. The curse was lifted. Maria would live.
Everything Prophet Elijah demanded was done. Divers found Laura's remains after 3 days, along with her tray and oranges. Her body was treated with care and respect. Desmond traveled to Oakwood with Prophet Elijah and elders. They found Kwame still waiting by the window, 10 years older. When Desmond told him the truth, Kwame wept, finally knowing what happened to his Laura. I forgive you, Kwame said through tears, not because you deserve it, but because Laura was kind. She would want me to forgive, but you can never give me back our wedding night, our life together. Laura was properly buried in Oakwood. The whole village attended. Kwame finally said goodbye. The crown was taken from Desmond. His title, wealth, position, all stripped away. But something miraculous happened to Prince Michael. After the truth came out, he began recovering. It was as if the wrong that brought Desmond to power had kept Michael sick. Within months, Michael was healthy. He was crowned King Michael and ruled with wisdom. Desmond was not imprisoned. Prophet Elijah convinced the king that Desmond had already suffered and would suffer more living with his guilt. Desmond lived as a common man, working in fields to earn his bread. Some said he deserved worse. Others saw how guilt had transformed him. 3 weeks after the revelation, Princess Maria had her wedding night with Desmond, not as royals, but as humble people in a small cottage. Simple, quiet, sacred. Laura's spirit had kept her promise. Maria lived. Maria chose to stay with Desmond. Everyone deserves a chance to change. Desmond is not the man who committed that crime anymore. They had a son whom they named Elijah after the prophet. Desmond taught his son the values he'd failed to learn: honesty, integrity, humility, doing what is right, even when it costs everything. My son, I was once a prince who thought the throne was worth more than a human life. I was wrong. No crown is worth compromising your integrity. Prophet Elijah stayed in Green Valley for a year, teaching and healing. Before leaving, he visited Desmond. You've learned your lesson. You lost everything you thought mattered and discovered what truly does: family, integrity, redemption. These are worth more than any crown. Thank you. You saved me when you revealed my sin. Now I can finally live honestly. Laura's mercy saved you. She could have taken everything. Instead, she let you live and learn. Honor her memory by living well. The story became legend, told as a powerful lesson. Every year on the anniversary, people gathered by the riverside, honoring Laura's memory with flowers and songs. Kwame lived to be very old. Before he passed, he visited Desmond one last time. Thank you for finally telling me the truth. It was painful, but knowing is better than wondering. Thank you for honoring my Laura's memory. I will honor her memory every day of my life and teach my son to do the same. Kwame smiled sadly. Then perhaps some good has come from this terrible tragedy.